Mandla! Viva ANC, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva SACP, viva! Viva Women's League, viva! Viva Youth League, viva! Viva MKVA, viva! Comrades, it's a real joy and pleasure to be amongst you. I greet the leadership of MKMVA, Comrade Kevin Patswe, and the various comrades who serve with you in the leadership of MKMVA. I also grieve the former combatants of our glorious army, Umkhonto Wesizwe. I take off my hat to the members of the Lutuli detachment who are here, and with deep respect, I greet you. I greet also the members of the June 16 detachment who are here. I also recognize and greet members of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress who are with us, the leadership of the ANC Women's League and the leadership of the ANC Youth League, and the leaders of our alliance partners, distinguished delegates, and comrades and friends. I bring you revolutionary greetings from the officials of the African National Congress, duly represented here by Comrade Jesse Duarte, the Deputy Secretary General, and greetings also from the National Executive Committee, duly represented here by members of the NEC. On this day, as you meet, we should also spare a moment to remember Comrade Reggie Vandeya, who passed away and was buried a few days ago. He was, together with Comrade Indris Naidu, who is not well now, amongst those who were the first combatants who got involved in the first actions of MK as they bombed installations around the country. We pay our respects to Comrade Reggie Vandeya because he remained loyal and committed to the African National Congress right to the end of his life. We salute you, comrades, the veterans of our People's Army, the spear of our nation. We recall that Umkhonto Wesizwe was formed at a moment in our history when the legitimate demands of our people were met by brute force from the apartheid regime. For over 3 decades, Umkhonto Wesizwe was at the front line of our people's defense, executing the orders that were given to it by the leadership of our movement. Now the guns have gone silent. The apartheid government has been defeated. Liberty and democracy for all the people of our country has been won. The aims for which our glorious People's Army was formed have largely been achieved. And yet the spirit of Umkhonto weSizwe lives on. It lives on amongst all of you who are here. It lives on amongst almost 11,900 of our comrades who are still around, who committed their lives to serving our people. We applaud you for that, and we say thank you. The tradition of selfless sacrifice, the deep political consciousness, and the fearless determination of the soldiers of Umkhonto weSizwe remain. MK was formed in the crucible of struggle. It was led by the gigantic figures of our movement and of our revolution, men and women who placed the interests of their people above their own welfare, their own safety, and their own lives. MK drew into its ranks the fighting youth of our nation as it had to. It was a moment of great pride when, after I was elected Secretary General in 1991, one of the first travels out of the country was to go to our camps in Uganda and Tanzania, and to go and meet our combatants who were still in those countries before they came back. Some of you were there. Some of you were there. I was traveling with Comrade Baleka Mbete, who was then Secretary General of the ANC Women's League, and we toured those two countries and went to various camps. This, in many ways, was like a baptism of fire, because it enabled me, and indeed Comrade Baleka Mbete, to perhaps drink from the cup that you all were drinking from, even though it was just literally a cup, but to see and to experience in very short space of time what you had gone through. You honored me by giving me the MK uniform, and I was photographed wearing it, and when I showed it to my children, they said, "You, a soldier? You could never be a soldier." It was a real honor, and I still thank you to this day. I keep that uniform in a very safe place. The young men and women who came into Umkhonto weSizwe were committed. They were fighting for freedom, for justice and equality, and this had compelled them to leave their homes and families, to journey to places unfamiliar and often inhospitable, and to undertake missions that were as arduous as they were dangerous. You are a cohort of comrades who had decided to dedicate everything, including your own lives. You are in the same ilk as Nelson Mandela and many other gigantic leaders of our movement who, when the hour came, said, "For this, we are prepared to die." You are part of that class. And as a nation, we need to recognize that moment had come for you when you had decided, individually and collectively, that this is an ideal that you were prepared even to lay down your lives for. And as it happened, comrades, many of you did actually fall in battle. And we dip our heads for those who did fall in battle, so that we could all be free. And over the course of a bitter struggle, many died and did not return. To them and to you, we owe our freedom. The spirit of Umkhonto weSizwe lives on in our movement. And it lives on because of you, and we thank you because you are the ones who still carry that spirit. It is deeply embedded in your hearts and indeed in your lives. It is sustained by the selfless actions of the many cadres who continue to serve our people. Many of you continue to serve in different forms. When you first served in exile and even inside the country, you served under very dangerous circumstances. But that danger did not deter you from continuing to serve. And today, you continue to do so. It is sustained, the spirit of MK, by the determination of the South African people never to submit to a number of ills and challenges that we face. And today we face challenges such as poverty, inequality, and injustice. It is sustained by you, the former combatants of Umkhonto weSizwe, because in order to get to where you are, where you were, you took an oath. The MK Military Veterans Association provides a vital link to a proud and courageous past. It is one of the guardians of the history of our revolution. But much more than that, this association is the voice and the instrument of the veterans of our armed struggle. It remains an engaged and vibrant force for social and economic change. It remains a vital part of the African National Congress, ready to marshal its resources, its capabilities, and energies in pursuit of the national democratic revolution. The MK Military Veterans Association derives its existence from our past, yet it is firmly located in the present and deeply focused on the future as well. And we applaud the fact that, comrades, you are part of the MKMVA association. It is an association that is vibrant and that must be strengthened. Yes, it faces its challenges from time to time, but we applaud you because you are in an organized formation over and above being loyal ANC members, and we thank you for that. This National General Council will discuss issues that are crucial for the advancement of the struggle for a better life for all South Africans, an ideal that you were prepared to commit your life to. We have defeated apartheid, but we must still defeat its legacy. That is why our movement's characterization of 1994 is correct, that we achieved a breakthrough. It was a breakthrough. What we still have to do is to finally defeat the legacy of apartheid. There are many of us who think that 1994 indeed was a total, overwhelming victory. It was a breakthrough. And with a breakthrough, as you would know as soldiers, you make sure that You position yourself so that you can get further into the hinterland, because the enemy may still be loitering around. It is almost like we gained a beachhead position. That's what 1994 gave us. We still have a long struggle ahead of us. As our president often says, "Indlela ndlela." We still have a long way to go. Today, our enemy, comrades, is poverty. We must overcome inequality, unemployment, disease, ignorance, and many other ills, as well as the poverty that still exists in our country. We must build a new nation that is educated and skilled. We must build a new nation of prosperity, equality, and security for all. We must build a South Africa that belongs to all who live in it, as prescribed in the Freedom Charter. If we are to realize this vision, the vision of the Freedom Charter, we need to place the very activity that will improve the lives of our people right at the center of what we do. And that activity is how we manage the economy and make sure that the economy of our country works to improve the lives of all our people. For the people to share in the country's wealth, we need to make sure that we generate faster growth. The National Development Plan maintains that we need to achieve over 5% annual growth to reach our economic and social objectives. By 2030, our GDP per capita needs to almost have doubled. This means we need to produce more. Sectors of the economy like manufacturing, agriculture, and mining needs to account for a greater share of economic output and employment. We need to add more value to the mineral resources we extract through greater beneficiation, thereby reducing our dependence on the export of raw materials, boosting domestic manufacturing and creating jobs. Through the Industrial Policy Action Plan and the New Growth Path, we are implementing measures to reconfigure the industrial landscape of our country. We are working to achieve greater regional integration and to diversify the range of goods and services that we export. But while faster growth is essential, it is not sufficient. We need to ensure that the benefits of growth are more equitably shared by all our people. To do this, we need to create more jobs, and we need to do so more rapidly. We have to promote and grow industries that are labor-intensive, such as mining, agriculture, construction, hospitality, and we need to grow and nurture small businesses and cooperatives that have the ability to create even more jobs, that have the ability to absorb even more people into real, meaningful economic activity. We also have to grow the more advanced sectors of the economy, such as manufacturing, financial services, telecommunications, and business services. Business services, yes, such as security and various other aspects of the security sector. We are currently undertaking the largest infrastructure investment program in our history, and indeed in the history of the African continent. There has never been such a huge infrastructure development program that our continent has experienced. It is possible that it only did so when the pyramids were built in Egypt. Now we are building even greater pyramids. We are building even greater infrastructure. And we are very proud that the president of our own country has been given the task to lead the infrastructure development process on the entire African continent. And this is recognition of what we South Africans can achieve. Comrades, we are building dams. It's not many countries in the world that are currently involved in building as many dams as we are building. We are building power stations. The power station that we are building in Medupi is going to be the third largest power station in the world, and it is going to be one of the most modern. We're building roads. We're rolling out roads. It's not only here in Gauteng where there is what do we call this thing of yours, Comrade Paul? E-tolls. We're building roads throughout the country and even in the rural areas. We're building rail lines. We're having installed broadband networks. We're building schools. We're building colleges, and we're building universities. Comrades, this demonstrates progress. What we are doing in building houses and in laying out electricity is something that was even never done under the apartheid regime well over 70, 100 years. This is being done under the leadership of your movement, the African National Congress. And in doing so, comrades, we're expanding our economic capacity, stimulating private investment, developing skills, and creating employment. More effective provision of a broader social wage will enable even the poorest of our people to have a decent standard of living, because what we've also done is to roll out the largest social support system this country has ever seen, in the form of social grants that are given to our people who are in need. And that in many ways has helped to alleviate poverty amongst our people. Public employment programs are also playing a key role in this whole process, as we are exposing many of our people to the world of work, as we're training young people either in internships, in public employment programs, and a whole range of other areas. Even the Rural Development Ministry of our country is involved in training young people in rural areas. Now, this is a really comprehensive transformation program that has been embarked upon by Jacob Zuma's government. Not only do these programs provide income for poor households, they also provide training, as I was saying, and experience that can assist participants in making the transition from the training process to permanent employment. Skills development is at the core of many of the things that we are doing, because we want to hasten the process of economic emancipation. Since 1994, we have significantly increased enrollment in schools, universities, and colleges. More than 7 million learners attend no-fee schools. We are working hard to improve the quality of our education outcomes. In the next few years, we will devote more of our education budget on improving school infrastructure, ensuring all learners receive sustainable or suitable learning materials, and improving teacher training. The post-school education system is also being significantly expanded and improved. As we pursue faster and inclusive growth, we will move faster to change the patterns of ownership and of the control of our economy as well. The vision and the objective of having economic emancipation in our lifetime is alive. It is ours, and we are going to pursue it until it is realized. This is what we are going to do. We have recently refined our broad-based black economic empowerment policies to broaden their reach and to deepen their impact as well, so that we get more and more of our people participating in economic activity. We have done much, comrades, to advance the participation of black South Africans and women in the management of our economy. We need to do more in a determined way to ensure that black people do play a critical role in the economy of our country. These are some of the things, comrades, that are going to be discussed at the NGC of the African National Congress. As we look forward to going to the NGC, I raise them deliberately because these are some of the issues that will arise. And MKMVA at this NGC needs to grapple with some of these issues. You need to focus your attention on the achievements of our government and movement over the past 2.5 years and give guidance to where it should go in the next 2.5 years. In doing so, this NGC should demonstrate the determination of MKMVA to confront the challenges of the moment, the enemies of the present moment, the enemy of the present moment being poverty, inequality, and unemployment. It will reaffirm the view that MKMVA is a critical and vital part of addressing the challenges that our country faces today. As we prepare for the ANC's NGC next month, we must ensure that the circumstances of our former combatants remain prominent on our national agenda. The ANC remains committed to ensuring that the benefits, and if you like, the dividend of our democracy does translate into a better life for all the veterans of our struggle and their dependents. That we should ensure. We must make sure that those people who were prepared to even sacrifice their lives, who took steps to leave the country, go into dangerous territories, to be trained and to come back to face the enemy, are people that we put in a very special place in the life of our nation. And you are those people. The ANC NGC next month provides an important opportunity to review the progress we've made in the implementation of the Mangaung resolution on the welfare of military veterans. We commend the important work that is being done by the Department of Military Veterans, together with other departments in the provinces and municipalities. The work that is being done in that department is commendable. And today we had Comrade Paul Mashatile, chair of our province here, also outlining some of the things that our province here in Gauteng is going to be doing, and more importantly, setting up a Veterans Directorate. Now, those are very important initiatives. And as I see them, comrades, I see us increasing the initiatives on an ongoing basis. Increasing them will also happen if you help the African National Congress remain focused, remain committed, and remain on the task to make sure that those comrades, those combatants, those veterans of our movement who were prepared to sacrifice everything are never, ever, ever forgotten. You must help the African National Congress do that. However, comrades, there is still much more that still needs to be done to assist veterans and their families. It is worth remembering what our former President Nelson Mandela said at the Umkhonto weSizwe conference in 1993. He said, "The issue of welfare is not one that can be reduced to the handing out of money for services rendered." I want to read it again. The issue of welfare is not one that can be reduced to the handing out of money for services rendered. The welfare of our combatants and that of our returned exiles in general is directly linked to a commitment on the part of the ANC to recognize the incredible sacrifices and commitment to liberation by generations of our people who found their way into the ranks of the ANC and MK. Those of our people who have been denied the opportunity to lead normal lives by virtue of the commitment to the liberation of our people must be given access to pensions, to health care, to housing, to education, to skills training, and to employment. It is important that this commitment extends even to the families of those who have fallen in the cause of our struggle, to the families of those who have been disabled and brutalized by apartheid. End quote. That is what Nelson Mandela said in 1993. We therefore need to ask ourselves whether, as a movement and a country, we have done everything possible to fulfill the commitment that Madiba made over 2 decades ago. That is the question we need to ask ourselves. We trust that this National General Council will develop concrete, feasible proposals that we can all discuss to ensure that the men and the women who sacrificed everything for our liberation live decent and comfortable lives. That's what we should be asking ourselves. And comrades, my own view is that this issue is an issue where there can't be any objection. There can't be any objection, and I would like to see those who would be opposed to it. Because no one can be opposed to a notion and a proposition as rich as put forward by Madiba. No one should be opposed to an idea that says those who sacrificed everything and those who were even prepared to die for all of us to live and to be free must be well cared for, must be well looked after. They must have the best of what South Africa can give them. There should be no opposition to that. So, comrades, the first important step, in my view, was setting up, and this was at your insistence. This was your proposal, Comrade Kirby did say so here, that you got the support of the Mangaung Conference to ensure that we do establish this department. That has been done. They have informed me that they have been at work on issues, because I asked them, I said, what has been happening? We were meant to attend to something, an issue like housing. And they said, yes, we have started. A number of houses are going to be delivered in Lukanji. A number of houses are being built. And this year alone, we hope to build and deliver 2,000 houses for our ex-combatants. Now, that is progress. That is moving forward. But then, more importantly, we need to build more houses. We need to make sure that the pensions are paid out. We need to make sure that what we resolve to do indeed does happen. And your conference here needs to discuss it in the ANC tradition, that where there has been weakness of implementation, we raise the issue, we discuss it, and we come up with solutions. And clearly the solution, one of the key solutions is going to be faster and faster implementation. That is something that we can say that we are committed to and we will want to see done. We trust, comrades, that this will give practical meaning to the call in our Constitution to honor those who have suffered for justice and freedom in our land, and to respect those who have worked hard to build and develop our country. You are a cohort of those who have suffered immensely to get us where we are today. You are a cohort of those who have helped to build our democracy, and therefore you need to be properly treated. You need to ensure that what Madiba had said is realized. Comrades and compatriots, the ANC looks to the MKMVA as a force of revolutionary consciousness, as a force of revolutionary behavior and revolutionary discipline. As former combatants, there is no one in the movement who better understands the importance of unity, focus, and discipline. We know that MKMVA will continue to speak out against racism, sexism, and intolerance. We know that as MKMVA, as you were fighting side by side with all your fellow combatants, as you looked around, you saw South Africa well represented in terms of its racial composition. And today, I would still like you to look around in this conference and to see whether this conference, MKMVA, does represent the various strands that make up South Africa. There are quite a number of comrades who you could say are in the minority groups who are not visibly here. And we need to ask ourselves, where are they? We need to go and seek them out and bring them here. I just read two names today. I read two names of comrades, Comrade Reggie and Comrade Indris. They were the very first comrades, combatants, who took up arms, who took up bombs to engage in warfare against the apartheid regime. There are many others who followed in their wake. Yes, from our minority communities. Where are they? Let us go and find them, because they belong here. MKMVA will be better enriched if they are here amongst us. Let us go and seek them out so that MKMVA should be representative of the true demographics of our country. Just like the African National Congress. Comrades, if the ANC were to have a meeting where it's just Africans only, it should get worried. It should get worried and ask itself, what is happening in our country? Because we are a movement that embraces everyone. We are a movement that belongs to all South Africans. So you yourselves need to ask yourself, Comrade Kebi, as you have your own discussions during this conference, NGC rather, ask yourselves what is happening, where they are. Let's go and fetch them, and let's bring them into the ranks of MKMVA. I ask for that. Comrades, we also know that as former combatants, you will fearlessly confront any forces of reaction. You will, without fear, because you are the repository. You are the repository. You are the commissars. You are the army of our people. Yes, you've been demobilized, but politically, you are some of the most advanced in our movement. I would like you to remember that. You are some of the most advanced. When we talk about political education, Comrade Nati, who leads our political process, will tell you that some of the comrades who are able to deliver really good political education are comrades who were in MK. There are comrades who were in MK, well-trained. Up to this day, sometimes when we talk, you wear badges. You wear the MK badge. And that is a valuable badge. I don't have that badge. Comrade Paul Mashatile is wearing a blazer with a badge, MK, and I envy him. So I said to Comrade KB, what does one do to get that badge? But you wear a badge, comrade. You wear the badge, and it's a permanent badge for life. You wear the badge of MK, which means that you went beyond just joining the ANC. You got into saying, I'm prepared to die for this struggle. And you even went further and said, I am prepared to commit everything. So with that badge, your political consciousness is at a higher level. And that is why Comrade Nati often relies on many of you. Now with that, comrades, you are the repository of everything that is good about the ANC. In terms of discipline, you are anti-reactionary forces. Any deviant behavior, you would be against. You would be against factionalism in our movement, without any doubt. You would be against the use of money in the electioneering process in our movement. You would be against that. You would be against indiscipline in our movement. You will never countenance indiscipline. When somebody is indisciplined, your blood boils, because that is something that you were not trained in. So you are therefore the repository of all the good values of the African National Congress. And it is to you that we look forward to defend the values of our movement, to stop those who would want to do so, to stop turning the ANC into a stokvel. Stokvel where people bring money. You are the ones who must do so. You cannot countenance activity like that. You are principled. You are as principled as Oliver Tambo, your commander-in-chief, was. You are as principled. You are as principled as Nelson Mandela. You are as principled as all the gigantic leaders that our movement has produced. When we see you, we see them. And so therefore, comrades, we say defend your movement. Let us together root out all these deviant behaviors that are beginning to eat the soul of our movement. The ANC soul must never be destroyed. And you are the ones who will stand up against those who undermine collective leadership of the ANC and those who seek to subvert the will of the people. True to the traditions of MK, you will strive at all times to defend the unity of the African National Congress and our Revolutionary Alliance. And as we have done before, comrades, we look forward to you guiding the African National Congress, guiding it with debate, with ideas, with convincing and persuading those that you meet in various structures of our movement. As we go to the NGC, we will be looking forward to MKMVA playing an important role to ensure that the African National Congress gets out of that NGC with revolutionary decisions that are going to advance the national democratic revolution. We look forward, comrades, to you showing us the way forward of how we can make sure that the ANC remains the ANC of Oliver Tambo, Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Helen Joseph, Albertina Sisulu, and many others. I wish you the very best for your NGC, and thank you very much.
Ramaphosa, hey, When I'm